Hey everybody, welcome back to another great episode of Let's Get Creative. Now, as you already may know, this podcast is dedicated to following some of the most creatives from around the world. And if you stick around, you'll see the process and what it takes. Now, it's not always easy, but they will show you what their process is to getting through it. Now, today we have Reggie Perry Jr. Welcome to his wonderful world of 3D animation and graphic designing. So stick around as he explains what he does.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Get Creative. This is Reggie Perry Jr., an amazing artist, animator, graphic designer. He lives in Atlanta, and he had, how many years have you been active in your career?
I mean, pretty much, my whole life kind of, but I'd say like 20 years. Yeah, 20
Nice.
years.
Honestly, snaps all around. I think that's amazing because it shows like how persistence can succeed. You know what I mean? Like
Definitely.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about your upbringing and like what makes like your mission statement basically, and how does it apply to the work that you do?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always just wanted to have a career that was creative. So, I started out drawing, taking art classes like in middle school and high school, doing all that kind of stuff. And, even at home, I had a computer from a young age. So since I was probably like 6, and I just turned 40. So this would have been like in the late 80s. So I was always like learning everything that was going on like in the computer and tech world as it like progressed through like Windows getting started and all that kind of stuff. So playing with Microsoft Paint and just like different apps and learning things like that. And I just always just wanted to be like a creative. So I would mess with music. I would mess with, computer generated art, build websites, all that kind of stuff throughout the years. And eventually, music kind of took over for a while. So I was doing that primarily for probably about 10 years, and then started to transition back into like the arts and graphic design and things of that nature, probably for the last like 12 years or so.
So awesome. That sounds really good. Can I ask like some of your inspirations with regards to your work and how it applies to what you create?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get inspiration from everywhere. Music is like a big part of that. So really, once I really started getting more into design, I started kind of leaning more into like instrumental music and like jazz and lo-fi and stuff like that. I just feel kind of like it kind of brings out creativity in me somehow. I don't know how, I can't really explain it, but it's just like when I'm listening to like these different musicians and like how they mastered their craft and everything like that, it kind of like, I can kind of draw upon that. And then I put that into my own music or my own 3D animation or graphic design or things of that nature. So but I pretty much get inspiration from everywhere. So like I'm scrolling Visco, I'm on Behance, I'm, looking at all the design sites, just kind of seeing different things, bits and pieces. I have different boards on Pinterest of like inspiration and things like that. So that's kind of how I use Pinterest to collect inspiration. And I'm just every day, like as a habit, just looking at different things and getting inspiration from different places.
I respect that because it's so important that people have that self-awareness and like that, strength and stuff. So tell me about some of your projects that you're working on currently. Like, you're doing animation, right? 3D animation.
That's amazing. I started doing 3D animation about 3 years ago. So it's kind of like always a dream of mine. Since I saw Toy Story when I was like 11 or so. Oh, this is so cool, like the 3D animation. And I was always into just the Disney movies before that, like Lion King and everything. So I got into that for the last 3 years, and I've been doing that a lot. I was spent a couple months doing like some daily renders just so I could get better at coming up with ideas and quickly executing them. And right now I'm actually working on an animated music video for someone. So hopefully, I'm rendering away on that right now and like laid it all out, but that should probably be done in the next probably about 3 or 4 weeks. And that's like my big project right now.
Nice. That's awesome. I love that. Especially with regards to like, doing something like within the last 3 years. You said 3 years you've been doing the 3D animation. That's pretty good.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's so exciting. Do you have any like any influences in your life currently that affect your work? I know there was a similar question than before, but I'm saying like stylistic wise, not like, you know what I mean?
Really not off the top of my head, to be honest, because I like deactivated my Instagram. I'm not on TikTok. Like I'm
All
pretty
good.
much
Yeah.
just like focused on like kind of building my own style and like aesthetic and everything like that, and just kind of coming up with my own ideas. Of course, like I'm looking at things like I said every day, but it's like I don't want to
Oh
really
yeah.
be
Yeah.
influenced right now. So it's like I find that influence like within the music and kind of how that music makes me feel, and try to translate that to like visuals. But there's no like specific artist right now where I'm like everything that they post, I'm like running
Oh
to go see or
yeah.
anything like that. Yeah,
No,
not
no,
at the
that's not
moment.
what I
Yeah,
meant. I was talking about like, you honestly like that's not what I meant, but I for sure I totally get that. I have a quick question. Where do you get, okay, if you have like writer's block or whatever, or like where do you get your ideas from? How do you like take the time like to, to overcome that obstacle?
yeah. I mean, I've read years ago that like there's really like kind of no such thing as writer's block, and like
Mm,
creativity is like a practice. So that's how I
yeah.
look at it. It's like if you play basketball, you go practice every day. So if you're creative, you go create every day. And
Mm,
if I'm not feeling it on the 3D, then I pick up my camera and take some photos of my kids and edit those. If I'm not feeling taking some photos, then I make some music. And if I'm not feeling making music, then I might write, or I might, design something. So there's always like, by knowing these different mediums, there's always something that I can do to stay creative. And then like this one, if I make this beat, oh, that might be good for a video that I want to do with some 3D animation or whatever the case may be. So they kind of all play
yeah.
off each other. And that was intentional, like to learn all these different things. I mean, even cook, like I cook almost like every day too. So it's like, if I'm not feeling any of the things in front of the computer, I'll go cook. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I
Yeah.
just always just trying to create and just keep it moving. So like I said, even with the daily renders, I'm like, okay, I want to create something that I can do every day and have to come up with a new idea every day. I did it for like 60 days or whatever, just to keep ideas flowing. And then it's like I write them down, and yeah, so it's like I have a whole notebook full now. I just start writing stuff down, and then it's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, or this is how I have to do something in Blender, and I don't want to forget it, so I write that down, and then later on, that kind of dictates
Mhm.
something creatively I can do. So it's just always just like practice. It's a practice. I approach it like a practice.
Yeah, that's great. It's like that's actually, it's like a mindset, you know what I mean? Like it's a mindset that you can choose to either like go against or go forward towards. So and a lot of people unfortunately like don't, they, if they are like, again, like I said, referring back to like some people in the industry wanting to be like this XYZ, like I'm going to be director, going to be an actor, but don't bother to like check out the production management side of things or to do the writing side of things, So it's definitely, it's a great like blessing to have like so many like aspects that you can be talented in. So that's amazing. I'm curious into like what is your purpose and what do your stories serve towards your purpose?
I mean, it's something I've actually been thinking about recently over the last year or so. I just haven't really nailed it down yet. So that's why I've kind of just been focusing just like on building skills. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, just to inspire, to show like it could be done. I mean, it can be done. It takes work, a lot of work. It takes a lot of discipline. So it's like, I mean,
mm-hmm,
I'm a little older now, I have kids. So it's not like I'm trying to like go out or anything like that. But even when I was younger, it's
mm,
like, okay, I can go out, or I can stay at home and like get better at my craft so that I can have the life that I want to have. So I made those
mm,
sacrifices, and now I have that life that I want to have. So, and hopefully that's inspiring, and people can pick up on that and say like, yeah, like it can be done. I didn't go to school for design. I didn't go to school for music. I went for marketing. I went for a business degree. So all this other stuff is self-taught. So you can
mm-hmm.
learn it. You can become good at it. You can make money with it. You just got to kind of have the discipline and you just have to be disciplined about it. And hopefully people
Exactly.
can pick up on that and learn from it and apply it to their lives and be successful as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. I feel like there's so much like strength within like having discipline, and it's really hard because we're constantly stimulated by like external factors, like the because of how busy the world is, and it's really hard to just put your focus into into put your whole heart into it basically. So that's good. I have a quick question for me. I'm all about like representation with regards to like minority communities. How has representation affected your work, and how has it changed over your lifetime?
I mean, if you look like at the 3D stuff, if you just like kind of go online, like obviously it's better now because you do have the internet and the communities, like for instance, like Where Are the Black Designers, like the Slack group and all that kind of stuff. So there's like communities where you can go and see people who are of color, who are creating like amazing things and working in the industry. But even 5 years ago, that was kind of even hard to find. Like you wouldn't really just see like a Black 3D designer, right? And like even though there are some, it's just like they were kind of hard to find, or you wouldn't hear about them. And it's like now with LinkedIn and Slack and Discord and all these different places, you're starting to see a lot more of it. And I think that's cool. But yeah, I mean, if you look at all of my pieces, like on my website or on my Behance or something, I mean, it's all centered around like Blackness and so yeah, I want that to be seen. I want that to be like at the forefront of like what I do.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with that. It's pretty much like it influences like your every decision, and it always has to do with like it just always has to do with like how you view yourself in the world and where you want to go. And the fact that you want your voice to be heard, and you're doing the podcast right now, so your voice is being heard, but you want your voice to be heard, and that's such a noble mission, because you don't want people to feel alone. You can't see what you can't be, basically. So you being in that position of like, of influence, is something really significant within just, POC communities. So that's awesome. So I feel like do you have any positive messages within, like, to say to people who are wanting to get within the industry and become an artist and creative, but just don't have the support, or, do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say for one, look for communities of like-minded people, because they are popping up and starting to grow. So you can find people who have like similar backgrounds as you and have, similar skill sets, or trying to learn similar things as you. So you can kind of lean on that community and help each other out and share what you learn and grow together. I mean, that's number one. And then secondly, I would say, you just have to stay consistent and persistent and disciplined. I mean, I always look at it like, even when I used to talk, like I used to do a lot of interviews around music and stuff like that. And I would always just say, like, it's just like Legos, right? Like one Lego is just a Lego, right? But you build all these Legos on top of each other, then you build something. So every little thing you do, you can maybe get you a design gig, and it pays $100 total, and you spent 10 hours on it. Of course, you want to have $100 an hour, but you got to work up to that. So you first get that $100 gig doing something, and then the next one you might get 150, then you might charge 25 an hour, and it takes you 10 hours, and you just kind of start to build up upon that. Like, it's not just going to be, you're making $100 an hour designing from day one, and you got to build a clientele. Exactly. You got to learn the soft skills. You got to learn the business side of things, setting up an LLC or a C Corp or S Corp, or keeping your numbers, accounting, keeping everything together with that, and paying your taxes. So there's a lot of things that you have to learn that go around the industry of design, or just like, if it's the music business or the entertainment business, like people always just hear music or entertainment, but they ignore the business side of things. And it is a business. And you have to, reach out to people. You have to build networks. You have to take care of your paperwork and make sure everything's in order. So just stay disciplined, learn as much as you can about the actual business of things, as well as what you learn about your craft, because they're equally important in the business world.
So what can we look forward into the future from you? Any, like, in like 5 years time, what do you think you are, like 10 years time? What is your roadmap?
Well, right now, after this project, I also have like another business project in the background that I'm working on. And this, if you were to go to my website, you'd see like an animated resume that I did, an animated 3D resume. So now I'm building out basically just a whole system with different templates, and it was so people can get their own 3D resumes to stand out in the marketplace. So you just come to me, and it'll be like a menu. You say, I want this this scene, light or dark theme. I want this clothing option. I want this music option. And then I make you an animated resume. So that's what I'm building out a business around that. So that should be launching after I finish this project up. I'll probably be ready for that after another month of work of just setting up everything. But yeah, that's what I've been working on for the last couple of months.
Nice. That's awesome.
And,
because
they're just growing that.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. That's great. Do you have any final last words that you want to say to the community, or do you want to like maybe, I don't know, give like your 2 cents with regards to like how to, like, I know you already like said like discipline and all of that, but like what can you do to keep people moving forward, I guess, and to keep your work relevant?
Yeah, you have to put yourself out there. Like I'm definitely like an introvert, and like back in the day, earlier in the social media days, I was all about like posting and sharing my work and things like that. And I kind of fell off for a while because I just felt like I don't want to like get on people's nerves on their feed and stuff. But they're following you for a reason, right? So
yes.
Just posting and being consistent with that, and not getting caught up in like the likes and like follower counts, because it's more about like having those true fans. I think there's like a book or an essay that Kevin Kelly wrote called like 1,000 True Fans. And it's like centered around like art or business. And if you have 1,000 true fans that pay you, $20 or $100 a year, that's $100,000, right? So if they're a true fan of yours and you're creating a product and every year they come back and spend $100 with you, $100,000 a year is a decent living. So, don't focus on everybody. Find your target market and kind of focus on them, and then kind of circle back to the business side of things. Like even when I was making music, I wasn't like the greatest like beat maker or nothing like that, but it's just really the way I like handle business. So like if I said I was going to be somewhere, I was there on time, 10 minutes early. Like, I'd follow up with emails if I met someone, thanking them, it's nice to meet you. Here's my website. Let's keep the conversation going. And if you handle business like that, it's really going to stick out to your prompt. I always like over deliver. So it's like, if I say I'm going to have you something like in 2 weeks on Friday, like I'll probably have it to you like in 3 days. Just
nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just depends. Like just because those things, like, of course, like I could wait and procrastinate, but I'd rather just get it off my plate, turn it around so we can keep the process going, get feedback, and, do another round of edits or whatever the case may be. So, just do what you say and being disciplined will take you a long way.
Sure. Integrity is so important. And thank you so much again for talking with me. I really appreciate it's so good to connect with you and so good to hear your story. That's it for this episode of Let's Get Creative. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.